just received a new book, The Art of Focus by Dan Koh. I've been really loving the wisdom that Dan has been sharing. There's a great quote that I want to share. Focus is a muscle and success is reserved for those who train it. All we have to do is just focus. But it's not that easy, right? The world is constantly fighting for our attention. There's distractions everywhere that we look. Lately, I've been struggling with focus and procrastination. I give myself the excuse that I need an entire block of time to work on something. Otherwise, I feel like the quality of the work won't be that good. That prevents me from starting in the first place.
When I just have 20 minutes, rather than using that time to work on something meaningful, I end up distracting myself and wasting time that could have been spent wisely. I also wasn't sure if this was something that people go through.
But recently, I listened to a podcast with Matthew Dix. He shares a great story from his book Someday is Today regarding this phenomenon.
So I always am willing to give fledgling writers 30 minutes of my time if they will meet me in the place that I happen to be. And then eventually I said, as I always say to writers, I say, so how much have you written? And so often, almost always, the answer is, oh, well, I haven't started writing anything yet. I said, well, you were 7 minutes late today. My point was not that you were 7 minutes late and I was upset. My point was I used the 7 minutes that you were late to write some sentences. I turned my computer, I said, this is what I wrote in the 7 minutes that you were late. Which is so often every creative person's belief that they only work under certain circumstances ideally.
A few years ago, I read James Clear's book Atomic Habits, which became one of those books I will always refer back to. He shares how most people choose the default option to which they are assigned. Most of us think that we're in control of our choices, but the truth is that a large portion of our action is simply a response to the environment designed around us. When it's not organized, where it's not conducive to focus and productivity, procrastination gets the best of me.
I was doing some research on how to enhance my room. I decided to get a new bookshelf.
The book Atomic Habits reminded me of a very important concept, which is being in motion versus action. Motion is when we're planning, learning, and preparing. It feels very good and productive. However, motion by itself will never produce a result or actualize a goal.
They know how the roller coaster is. They know they're on fire, they're in Mighty Ducks, they're in fucking subways are really nice.
The thing about motion is that it feels very safe because there's no real risk of failure or judgment that's associated with taking action. Perfectionism is definitely another cause for staying in motion because when we feel like we have to produce groundbreaking work, we could just easily plan endlessly, which will make us put off the work for a long time. When it comes to taking action, there's a heavier feeling associated with it, which we call that resistance. Resistance is the feeling where we know we should start, but it's so hard to just sit down and get started. The most important step is first realizing this concept of motion versus action when we're in motion. Once it comes into our awareness, then that's when we could actually start to take that step forward. It's just like going to the gym. At first, it's not gonna be comfortable. The workout might be very difficult, but over time, if you just push through and be consistent with it, working out becomes more pleasurable. Eventually, it becomes like an essential part of our life. In that same way, if you just consistently take that step, taking little actions at a time, then you definitely become more skilled and better at handling resistance. The thing about resistance is that it's normal. Everyone feels it, everyone goes through it. We have to also know what season we're in. Right now, we might not have that high level skill to do the work that moves the lever towards our goals. We might be in that season where we have to learn, we have to educate ourselves. That in itself might be an actual lever moving activity. What I noticed that helped me a lot is operating on a time scale from long term to immediate and short term. It's very helpful that working on a timeline keeps everything organized, but the biggest benefit I realized is it really helps manage my overthinking and anxiety that comes with pursuing a goal. Let's say that I have a really bad day, I procrastinate really badly and I don't get anything done. In that case, it's so easy for me to beat myself up, to have negative thoughts. If I'm able to zoom out and see the bigger picture, that gives me a sense of relief. It makes me feel like I still have time to make up for things, push myself, and get things done. But the daily goals is what's immediate, and that's what can really push us. I want to keep 1 to 2 priority tasks per day because we only have so much mental bandwidth.
This is my dog, Jazz. Having a loving companion makes me realize how precious their life is. It makes me want to give them the best experience and make the most out of each day for them. It also hit me how fast our life moves as well. It creates a sense of urgency for myself to make the most out of each day and do my best. Once we can overcome the hurdle of procrastination, we can experience the greatest and happiest feeling that comes with progress on the work that's meaningful to us.